Thank you, Louise. It may be dry, but I don't think it's warm in here, Tim. I know that much for sure, but it's certainly drier than what you've been through on the grid, Louise. Rob Collard said it. It's the fastest track in the UK, and it's raining. Vision is going to be everything.
Yeah, the problem is it is fast. You're committed to the line. You can't see anything in front of you. You're in a ball of spray. He'll be desperate to make a good start and get as far to the front and clear as of the visibility as he can. But it's going to be an interesting race, and the first lap is going to really separate the whole grid.
Hardy fans that we've got here at Thruxton today for this third weekend of the 10 weekend of British Touring Car Championship for 2012. Puddles are everywhere, and actually, Tim, there's a little bit more standing water in front of the pole position man Jordan on the left there with his lights on than Jason Plato. Do you think that might give Plato a bit more bites as he lets the clutch in?
No, I think he's got a good sort of couple of car lengths before he hits that little bit of water. So I think the car will be rolling and moving then before he hits that water. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Lou mentioned to Rob Collard on the third row in the white BMW that he led by the time they got to Redgate at Donington a fortnight ago. That was in the dry. Here in the wet, will the BMW have the same kind of advantage that it usually has in the dry when the lights go out?
Yes, absolutely. In a way, it's actually magnified the advantage it has, but it still requires him to get everything right off the line. So he could definitely get to the front if he gets a good run, because they're flat out through the first corner from the start line. So effectively, it's a long, flat-out run until the complex.
Well, we had a disrupted qualifying session yesterday. You saw the spectacular onboard shots from Jason Plato, but it was Andrew Jordan who took his second ever British Touring Car pole position with a hell of a lap ahead of Jason Plato. Frank Rathall heads the second row ahead of Matt Jackson. Row 3, Dave Newsham. What a good run from him ahead of Rob Collard. Row 4 is Aaron Smith from Lee Wood. Row 5, Liam Griffin, Tom Onslow, Cole, Nick Foster and Tony Gillam on row 6. Row 7 is Ollie Jackson with the VW Golf ahead of Adam Morgan with his Toyota. Chris James and Andy Neat. Neat had an off with his MG. Rob Austin, they've worked literally night and day to get that Audi ready for the race here this morning ahead of Gordon Shedden, who had those turbo boost problems in qualifying. Matt Neal way back, 10th row of the grid ahead of Tony Hughes, Jeff Smith. Dan Welch has had a problem on the outlap, and I don't think he's actually going to be starting from the back of the grid. He had some drive shaft problems yesterday. Now Frank Rathall is in third position on the grid, and we can go live to the 25-year-old. Frank, it's Toby up in the commentary box. You had a fantastic qualifying yesterday. It's now raining cats and dogs. Are you nervous? Are you cool?
Hi Toby, I'm quite cool to be honest. Great day yesterday, and trust me, in these conditions I'd sooner the nearer the front the better. There's going to be a lot of spray, and I've only got 2 cars in front of me, so we'll see what we can do.
Okay, well we'll let you look into the racetrack and avoid those puddles. Good luck, Frank. It's great to see these youngsters coming through. We've got the second youngest guy, Tim, on the pole position, and then we've got Jason Plato, the most experienced guy, right alongside him. As I keep saying, the young guard is coming.
Yes, it is, but it's still the old guard that are at the top of the championship table. You know, the grey-haired old boys are still up there, Matt Neal and Jason Plato, and experience counts for a lot. We'll see whether it's experience or youth comes out the top of this race, because it's a tough race. This conditions are absolutely terrible. I'm not sure that I'd want to be out there watching from underneath a piece of tarpaulin, but I'd rather be in the car. Actually, it's the best place to be. You're dry, you're warm, you've got a job to do.
Always a racing driver, isn't he, everybody? Always a racing driver. Well, there were some Honda fans cheering on Gordon Shedden and Matt Neal on the banks there. There is the stricken, non-starting Proton of Dan Welch. He had a drive shaft problem yesterday afternoon. Now look at those curbs, the massive curbs that we've got here at Thruxton, Tim, but they've put in some extra evil, nasty curbs on that chicane. Real big sleeping policeman.
Well, actually, the first curb on the right is the same. The middle curb and the exit curb are actually slightly flatter, but with sausages on them. And in qualifying, several cars lost their fastest laps by putting 4 wheels across. So we'll watch to make sure they don't do that in the race.
Okay, well, the front row come to their grid positions. Andrew Jordan, that rallycross experience. We may well jest about it, but it was a hell of a lap from Andrew Jordan yesterday in damp conditions that he set the pole position on with slick tyres underneath him. Very brave indeed. Okay then, we're getting ready for 16 laps of round 7 of the 2012 British Touring Car Championship in monsoon conditions here at Thruxton. On the pole position is Andrew Jordan. Alongside him is Jason Plato. Frank Rathall with the orange Toyota. He heads row 2. And then we've got Matt Jackson with the Ford Focus. 4 different cars in the first 4 places on the grid here. The lights go out and it's a great start from Jordan. He's got an immediately good start. Jackson's got an even better start. And he's going to drive around the outside of Jason Plato. And somebody's had a moment. It's Andrew Jordan, the pole position man, has gone off together with Jason Plato, and Matt Jackson leads.
Well, as the 3 of them went into that corner side by side, I was worried whether they would all get round it. Jackson has a huge lead, but a big moment at the start. Actual fact, it was Rob Collard that got a terrible start, but has benefited from that contact, and it's Frank Rathall who's in second.
Dave Newsham is in 3rd position. He's come from 5th position on the grid. There is his ES Racing teammate Chris James streaming through. Now we go out to Noble, the left-hander out the back of the circuit. It is tremendously fast, and what a start from Matt Jackson. Electrifying.
Newsham is up to second. He's passed Rathall already, but Matt Jackson said he loves these conditions, and he really has put his foot down. He's the only one in clear air. In fact, although Collard is in 4th, he really got a terrible start and just too much wheel spin. We can have a look, I think. Oh, we got Tony Hughes off.
Tony Hughes, he had a spin at the end of qualifying yesterday, and now he's made a real mess of that Toyota. There they come down to the chicane for the first time. Frank Rathall with the Toyota in 3rd position. Jackson's gone through. Newsham's gone through. There's 3rd, 4th and 5th. With Rathall, with Collard, with Plato. Then we've got Aaron Smith, and then we've got Tom Onslow Cole and Lee Wood and Foster and et al. Now this is off the line with Plato. Now watch as we come up to the first corner. Remember, he's got Jackson on his left. They come through. It looks like he had contact with Jackson. It didn't really look like he had contact with Andrew Jordan, who was on his right-hand side. But we need to see a front shot of that. But it did look. Oh, here we go. Oh, there was contact. There was a tiniest touch, just the tiniest little touch with Andrew Jordan. But the front-wheel drive Honda of Andrew Jordan, they just couldn't hold that slide. Well, the temperature in the tyres is just not enough. Now is this Tony Hughes going off? Yes, it is. Tony Hughes has gone off at Noble on the way down to Goodwood. That's where Neat and Austin went off yesterday. Now we're on board with Frank Rathall from 3rd off the grid.
Well, this will be a good shot. If you watch as you go through, just on the apex here, there's just... Oh, actually, in fact, I think that Jordan got on the standing water and had a bit of a wobble. And that's what set the car off in a little bit of a motion before it just contacted with Jason Plato.
Okay then, Matt Jackson leads by nearly 3 seconds ahead of Dave Newsham. Here comes Jackson into the chicane. He can afford to keep it cool. He's in radio contact with the Redstone Racing lot. Oh, and Newsham has a massive slide. That is how on the limit they are. Rathall going through, then Collard, then Plato, then Aaron Smith, then Tom Onslow Cole. He's had a great start. He was in 10th position on the grid, and he's now in 7th as he comes over the line. Behind him then is Lee Wood, Foster, and look at this gaggle. Now let's pick up with where Gordon Shedden is. He's in 14th position. He's trying to find a way around Ollie Jackson in the AMD Golf, and already he's missing a bumper. He's had a bit of action.
Yeah, he certainly has. And teammate Matt Neal is up in 12th, 2 places ahead, just in front of the AMD Golf. Looked like Shedden was going down the inside into Campbell there.
For 13th position, back with the battle for the last podium step. Frank Rathall fire spitting as he goes into Noble out of the Dynajet Toyota, but the eBay BMW is all over the back of him. Spray is everything. A lot of these drivers were saying after free practice yesterday, Tim, that the extra width of the NGTC new Dunlop tyres give up so much more spray.
They give up a lot more spray, certainly. They also give more grip, but not over standing water. On standing water, the wider tyre is not what you want, but certainly just when the track is wet with no standing water, the wider tyre is better. This is on board with Rathall, looking back at Collard as they approach the club chicane. Coming up very hard on the brakes, trying to brake in a straight line. The BMW looks to have more outright traction. more grip on that car, I think. So I think it's probably only a matter of time before that BMW finds its way past.
It's a lighter car for Collard. It's got an S2000 chassis underneath it. They've all got a 2-litre turbocharged engine, about 340 horsepower, give or take. But Collard has got a lighter chassis by about 100 kilos, but he's got less rubber footprint on the wet tarmac.
Yeah, that's right. Let's just watch through these corners. It just looks like the BMW's got a bit more grip. And certainly as we come through the next left-hander, watch the next left-hander here. The BMW really closes on Frank Rathel. And he's looking, I think, Collard, to slide it up the inside, just to slide up the inside into Goodwood. Look how much quicker he is.
Well, Rathel had a big wobble there, Tim, and that's given a chance for Collard to go around the outside. That's a massively brave moment. And Rathel, you could hear him feathering the throttle. Who wouldn't be in these conditions? It's mighty in the dry, it's terrifying in the wet.
Well, I think there's some standing water there, and as we said, the slightly wider tyre, it's going to aquaplane before the narrow tyre. Rathel's run a bit wide, has he? Oh, that's a good run through there for the BMW. Look at that, he's carried his momentum, he's looking up the inside, he's parallel already now.
And he's through! He's through to third position. Can he hold it on the tighter line into the chicane? Yes, he can, and now Rathel has lost that third position. He's got to look after his fourth, because Plato's right on his tail with the MG. That MG they finished at about 1:30, 2 o'clock this morning, after it leapt the tyre wall after a massive... Look at this view, Tim.
That is the visibility that you get as a driver. I can tell you that the wipers play absolutely no part in clearing that at all. They're on, but they really don't do a lot. The drivers actually put, the teams put Rain-X on the screen, which is a sort of invisible film that helps the water bead up and fly off. But really in these conditions, the sheer quantity of water, you can't do it. Look at the drive Plato's got coming out of Seagrave.
And he's powering through, and he does go through. Rathel loses fourth. Plato now takes that fourth position away, and he has a bobble. Oh, he holds a nice defensive line into Noble, coming up through Goodwood towards Church, where he had that massive off that you saw in the pre-show during qualifying yesterday. That was a big off. He said he was looking at the marshals, and the marshals were thinking, we've never had anybody get this far. And by the time he got halfway across the grass, he thought, we better move. So the marshals were running for their lives. Running for their lives. But everybody's kept on the island so far, back with the leaders. Let's have a look at this. Well, Dave Newsham has done the fastest lap of the race. He has managed to take away about 0.8 of a second of Matt Jackson's lead on the last lap. Now we cross the line. Let's have a look at the lap times. Newsham, he goes about 0.2 slower. So Matt Jackson has had the hurry up.
Yeah, well, I think they're just all finding their feet a little bit now, and certainly Jackson's lap, that last lap, a couple of tenths quicker than Newsham's. Of course, both these front two cars, Super 2000 cars, as is in fact Collard's car. So Plato is the first NGTC car in fourth.
Now this is Gordon Shedden battling with Tony Gillam. This is the battle for 9th position. Gillam with Gordon Shedden's car from last year, the older Civic with the new Civic right behind it. Oh, it doesn't look very new. Oh, that's properly stoved in. Gonna need more than T-Cut to get that out. And Matt Neal, his teammate, is right behind him, but Gordon Shedden, maybe he's dinged the tracking or the wheels, so that's a big, big impact to have that much damage, Tim.
Well, I don't know what's happened here, because don't forget Matt Neal was in front of Shedden earlier on when we saw them before. So something's gone wrong there with either Matt Neal or there's been some incident somewhere. But yeah, that car looks heavily damaged.
Gordon Shedden up to 9th. Gillam in 10th place. There he goes with his hard Honda car. And there's the reigning champion, Matt Neal, 3-time British Touring Car champion, coming through Church Corner. Lights ablaze. He's got massively good drive on the exit of Church. Coming past our camera through the murk. Our cameramen are certainly going to need medals after today's action here at Thruxton. Already the leaders have gone over the line 10 seconds ago, as this battle for 10th position is going to come over the line now. Maximum damage limitation for Matt Neal.
Interestingly, the Honda of Tony Gillam has had a boost increase since the last race. The equalisation of performance has actually allowed all of the cars, apart from the MG and the Honda, to have a boost increase. And Tony Gillam was someone that really needed that boost increase. And you could see on the straight there, coming out of Church, coming out of the chicane, Tony Gillam's car's a little bit quicker on the straights than the MGTC Honda.
Now we're back on board with Jason Plato. We're in 4th position, and that's 3rd position right in front of us. Great drive he's got with the 888 MG versus the West Surrey Racing BMW. Side by side. Oh, who's going to be the bravest? Collard has to tuck in behind Jason Plato. Marathon man Rob Collard. He did the London Marathon last week in 4 hours and 6 minutes. His target was 4 hours. He says, I'm going to do it again just to do a 3:59. There's determination for you. Jason Plato, 3rd position. That's Adam Morgan. He's off. He was in 17th position with the Speedworks Toyota. His teammate Tony Hughes has had a big off and he's taking no further part in this race. Still leading is Jackson by 3 seconds from Newsham. Plato 3rd, Collard over the line in 4th. There's Rob Austin coming out of the pits. Oh, the Rob Austin guys, they've worked until 2 o'clock this morning to mend the bent car after its crash yesterday, and now it looks like they've got further problems. There's your leader, and there was the gap to 2nd. We are on board with Gillam. We are in 10th position. That's Neil behind us in 11th.
Yeah.
Neil still can't get through.
He still can't get through, despite having more grip. He just can't find a way past. But his teammate Gordon Shedden, who we saw a couple of laps ago past Gillam, has now set the fastest lap. He's done a 1:24.5. He's actually flying in that battered Honda.
7 seconds slower we are doing here at Thruxton today over the damp but still good enough for slick tyres qualifying session we had yesterday. Matt's getting all over the back of the older Honda Civic from last year. That's very tight indeed as he comes out of Goodwood. And now he's through on the approach to Church.
Yeah, I think you could see he's lost some distance to his teammate, but you could see why the extra grip of the wider MGTC tyre there just helped him all the way around Goodwood to hold a tighter line. Back to Matt Jackson in the lead with just over a 3-second lead back to Newsham. Lap times between the two quite similar, but Matt Jackson a little bit quicker. So I think Matt is just controlling this race. Plato is running very quickly, but he's some 7 seconds behind Newsham.
Well, we are on lap 9 of 16. The pace of Plato. Can he get Newsham? Not at the moment is the answer to that. We're riding with Frank Rathall, 5th position, looking at Rob Collard through the complex. Collard has a bit of a moment, which he would do with a rear-wheel drive on less rubber. And now Rathall winds it up. Let's listen to the throttle.
Look how that he's nearly gone off. He's nearly gone off on the heavy water there. It's just when they get on the surface there that you're looking at, there's no standing water. As soon as they hit standing water, the car aquaplanes and the driver loses grip, and that's exactly what happened through that tricky, fast left-hander at Noble.
Oh, hit him! Is Gordon Shedden through past Lee Woods in the bins Vauxhall Vectra. A massively brave manoeuvre from Gordon Shedden, the man who was victorious twice at Donington Park. He's 5th in the title chase, and now Gordon Shedden is up to not 9th, but 8th.
Yeah, and he's closing very quickly on Onslow Cole as well. So Shedden, despite that damage to the left-hand side of the car, is absolutely flying. Really is flying. Just cutting across the curbs there, not putting 4 wheels across, just putting 2, and that's enough to keep his momentum through the chicane. Now back to the leader. Matt Jackson still out in front, just coming out of the complex there, building some speed as he comes round the faster section of the track, looking for puddles. I noticed the driver staying away from the edge of the track.
There's a massive crash!
Liam Griffin.
That's Liam Griffin, and also has Dave Newsham got a problem? Did I see damage with Newsham? This is Griffin! Oh!
Well, I was just saying about staying away from the edge of the track, and as I said it, Liam Griffin was gone in. Look, that's a hard impact. That is totally driver error, I'm afraid. He's done enough laps to see there's a lot of standing water at the edge of the track, and he just got in. That's going to bring out a safety car, I think, which is going to ruin this lead. It's going to close the whole field up again.
Okay, well, Dave Newsham is still second. It's just a trickery of the colour scheme. I thought he had a bent wheel on the front of that car, but it's just a wide bumper. Apologies for that for the ES Racing fans watching here on ITV. What a great drive Dave Newsham is doing. He's had one podium in this British Touring Car Championship. That was a third place at the last race at Brands Hatch, the last race of the day. And he's going like the wind at, and it is windy, at the moment. Here's
Look at the water on the right-hand side of the track. See how the drivers are staying. Plato, you just saw, staying well away from the edge of the track there. So, look, there's the water, and that's the water that Liam Griffin drove into.
And have we lost Tom Onslow-Cole? No, we haven't. Shedden's got through and passed him. So Shedden has now got through and passed Aaron Smith, the Dubliner. Shedden up to 6th position. What a fantastic job he's done from 18th position on the grid. Gordon Shedden is now going to get the safety car because of that accident that happened to Liam Griffin at the first corner. So everything will concertina up. We have just started lap 11 of 16, and by the time they clear that, Tim, it's going to be a 2-lap dash for the cash.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it's going to close everybody up. Plato is going to be the one that's going to be looking at potentially attacking Newsham for second, but that's certainly not what Jackson Newsham wanted. I'm not surprised there is a safety car because certainly Griffin's car's in a dangerous place, but if anything, the conditions are getting worse, aren't they, throughout this race?
They are, and that's, for the Motorbase guys, that is an awful, awful lot of work to repair Liam Griffin's car for the next race, which is going to be in just over 2 hours' time. That's a big, big mess there. We had one of the Porsches off in free practice on Saturday morning there, and it didn't make that much mess.
No, but that's a front-engine car. You can see how the front end's been pushed down a lot. I would be amazed if there isn't chassis damage there, chassis rail damage there. So I'd be very surprised. I mean, the Motorbase crew, they've got some great panel beaters in there. They're absolute experts at repairing damage, but that could be a step too far, I think, for today.
Well, the safety car is letting Andrew Neat go through. He's got some damage to his number 44 MG as they pick up the leaders. Jackson going through there, and there is your second place man, Dave Newsham. What's vision like through the side of the car and the side screens, your windows, your rear screen? There's no heater in these cars like rally cars might have.
No, most of the cars are fitted with an electrically heated windscreen, so that as long as the power is working, that the electric heated windscreen will keep the screen clear. Nothing on the side screens, of course, but they also make sure they wipe all the inside glass surfaces with an anti-fog sort of fluid, but it's not perfect.
Well, 12 laps we have 11 laps we're done. We're on lap 12. Rescue truck is just rushing down in front of our commentary position on the home straight here as the camera picks out these guys, and we have to use the line that they use when there's bad light at the cricket, Tim. Those lights really are shining like beacons, but the camera actually makes it look brighter than it really is because it's pretty dark here. But we can go live on board and have a quick chat with Frank Rathall. Frank, we were riding on board with you, having some understeering moments. It is just wetter than an otter's pocket out there.
Certainly is, and it's just getting wetter and wetter, unfortunately. I've had a couple of moments which has lost me a couple of places, but just bring it home.
Is it just the amount of water, or how are your front tyres getting along?
My front tyres are fine. It's actually the rear that I'm struggling with. Understanding water, that's where all the problems are coming from. But if I just bring this home, I'll be happy. Go somewhere dry. That's where I want to be.
Okay. Have a great last couple of laps, Frank.
Yeah, very difficult there. It's the aquaplaning, and the driver has absolutely no control once the car starts to aquaplane, and no doubt, and because the car is turning in all the time here, that as soon as the car aquaplanes, it moves sideways. It doesn't just slide straight; it moves sideways. But very difficult conditions, as Frank said. Watch this, Liam Griffin wheel in the water. Once that starts aquaplaning, he's a complete passenger. Look, he can't steer, he can't slow the car down, and that's a heavy impact. The car didn't glance off those tyres, it buried its nose deep into the tyres and into the Armco, and that was a big shunt.
Yes, because even though there is that rubber banding across the front of the tyres, a development that was brought in 10, 12, 15 years ago or so, you just can't stop a 1,200 kilo car bounding into those tyres. They've dragged it out of the way, and soon we should be back under racing conditions here at Thruxton. My goodness me.
Well, I'd call that static art. I think that should be in the Tate Gallery. Certainly if you can have messed up beds and, you know, rows of bricks in the Tate Gallery, I don't see why you can't have a beautifully stacked set of used tyres like that.
Tim Harvey, artist. Right, okay, we're still waiting on that one, I think. Well, the fans have certainly had some action here, and here on ITV4 you're going to continue to have the last few brilliant laps of this opening race of 3 here at Thruxton. We've got a couple of Porsche Super Cup races, some more Ginettas, the Renaults, and it's going to be certainly a day full of action, that is for sure. Safety car still out here around this 2.3 mile circuit. Still leading is Matt Jackson in his Redstone Ford from Dave Newsham in his Vextra. And Jason Plato, the championship leader, let us not forget, he's leading by 4 points coming into this race, ahead of Matt Neal. Neal at the moment is in 10th position, and he's only going to get 6 points compared to Plato's 15 if they finish where they are now. But ahead of Matt Neal is Lee Wood and Tom Onslow Cole and Aaron Smith, so who knows what the number 1 car can do.
I think, in fact, the NGTC cars will sort of come into their own a little bit more now that the weather's got even worse, because the slightly narrower tyre will cut through the water better.
Would you like an ice cream, Tim, to just sort of cool you down with all of the action that we've got up here in the commentary box?
There's no queue there, is there? The only queue is for a bit of shelter. It's certainly not going to be selling many 99s today.
I think he's shut his window, and Mr. Whippy has...
I fancy a posh sausage, though. Did you see that? I fancy a posh sausage.
Moving on.
Lights out. So safety car in this lap. I'm not sure whether there'll be yellow held stationary at the first corner because of the tyres over stacked up badly, but the safety car definitely in this lap.
So we're going to have 2 laps. It's going to be 19 laps. It's going to be, we've just heard up here, so another 3 laps on top. So it's going to be a 19 lap up. So it's going to be 5 laps under racing conditions. And they're bunched all back together again, Tim. And we've got really a similar kind of problem to the start of the race. Oh, they put the lights back on.
That's
they put
true.
the lights back on because...
That's either still in a dangerous place and the lorry is stuck in the mud, as we've seen before, and they can't restart. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
I'd say you're right, Tim. It's lorry stuck in the mud.
That's still in a dangerous place. Look, that could easily be collected by 2 cars contacting. Well, they cannot restart with that in that place for sure. But
no. Okay, well, we need the big Tonka toy like we had with the recovery truck to get Plato's car out of the hedge yesterday afternoon to then pull the lorry out. It is absolutely underwater. It's like that Grand Prix at Silverstone in 2000 when people were stuck, and it's like that race that you won at Donington Park in that Renault, just underwater back when, 19 years ago.
Are you saying I was lucky?
No, I'm saying it was a very dark and wet day. You, Ayrton Senna, winning on the same card. Come on, Tim. I'm setting it up for you.
Well, you are, and I'm always amazed that people continuously talk about how brilliant Ayrton Senna was on that day at Donington in the wet, and they never talk about how brilliant I was in the touring car race. But nevertheless, it was first win for Renault, first win in actual fact for Michelin in touring car racing as well. But they've gone on to win many other races since. But let's see if we can get. I'm hoping that safety car route will be moved. I would love to see a few more laps of racing on the restart here, but I think the message should certainly go out to all these truck drivers. Please don't drive on the grass because you'll get stuck.
Well, is it as wet here today as when it was your victorious Donington? Is it worse, better, what?
It's very similar. Different circuit, different set of circumstances, but you know, I've driven in a lot of very, very wet races, and this is probably about as bad as it gets, but particularly because it's a high-speed circuit, particularly because it's a very uneven surface, so you've got pockets of water in different places, very difficult conditions, definitely. I think the drivers have done very well so far, but you know, let's just hope we can get some more racing.
Interesting to see that Tony Hughes did recover from his early off at Noble, and he's got to the back of the snake, the back of the crocodile, so he still is in this race, even though he's 4 laps down. Okay, well, a Solihull's greatest is going to pull out the recovery truck, and I don't think that's going to work. My knowledge of Land Rovers might not be as good there. Okay, we're on board with Jason Plato. Jason, it's Toby up in the commentary position. It is underwater out there. You're in 3rd position. What's your plan for these last few laps?
Is that Toby?
It is. Jason,
hello,
it's Toby.
Hello, mate. I didn't hear your first part of your transmission. I was talking nonsense to my team.
Okay, well, I'll leave you because we've just been given a red flag, just as we've been on air, Jason, so we've got a red flag.
Okay, well, I don't mind speaking to you.
Okay, thank you very much. You've got a 3rd position here. Are you happy with that result after your off of yesterday?
Yeah, to be honest, a great result for us. I mean, we got a good start, and then there was a little bit of action at turn 1, and I ended up on the grass with my heart in my mouth. So to come back from where we were to get 3rd, it is a great result. I mean, I have to say the conditions are just horrible. It's no fun out here. Where Matt Jackson is, it'll be great fun because you can see where he's going. But where we are in the MG KX Momentum Racing team, it is a bit bleak, but great result.
Are these about the worst conditions you've ever driven in, or it's right up there in your top 5?
It's certainly up there in my top 5. The only other time it's been worse than this was when I was at sea.
Aye, sailor. We'll see you in the pits later.
Hey, enough of that sailor stuff.
I thought so, Jason. Good to see you're on form after your moment yesterday.
To be honest, he's been at sea often, I thought. Dear, well, we've got Fred Carno's circus here, haven't we? A Land Rover trying to pull a recovery truck, trying to pull a smashed up touring car, but really and truly, it's congratulations to Matt Jackson. A fantastic drive. Let's not forget that he won the last race on the road. He was 3rd in the 2nd race at Donington, and he won the 1st race at Donington. So he's the points man at the moment. He's certainly the man in form, isn't he?
And he's won this race here, Tim, with 36 kilos of ballast. You know, the 2nd most amount of weight that any of the ballasted drivers have got, and he's won it well. He's bounced back from the disappointment of such a great Donington weekend to then have it taken away a couple of hours later. He's 6th in the championship coming into this race, and surely he's going to go up to 5th. He might be knocking on the door of 4th or so, but we'll see the championship table later. It's just what he needs for a championship challenge.
Yeah, it's worth noting that the weight doesn't make much difference in the wet. It really doesn't, actually. But he was carrying that 36 kilos as if he was 2nd in the championship. Here's the result.
Matt Jackson takes the victory. His 2nd victory of 2012 here at Thruxton. Dave Newsham, his 2nd podium of 2012. Great result for that squad. And Jason Plato, he's on the bottom step of the podium. 4th is Rob Collard. Frank Rathel in 5th. Gordon Shedden, Burn from the Stern to get to 6th. Aaron Smith, and then Tom Onslow, Cole Leewood and Matt Neal getting 10th position and just 6 points here in this race. He got ahead of Tony Gillam, Ollie Jackson, Jeff Smith, Nick Foster and Chris James taking the final point in 15th place. Nick Hughes, Griffin Morgan, Rob Austin, problems for them after they took to the grass, took to the mud. Jason Plato continues to lead the championship ahead of Matt Neal. Rob Collard up to 3rd. Shedden, Matt Jackson 5th. Jordan non-scoring here in this race ahead of Newsham, Onslow, Cole, Jeff Smith and Tony Gillam.
The drivers on the grid have said it's a journey into the unknown. Others have said it could be chaos. Certainly conditions for round 8 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship are as tough as ever here at Thruxton. And let's join our commentators Tim Harvey and Toby Moody.
Track temperature getting even cooler, air temperature dropping. It's about the coldest race that we may well have in this 2012 British Touring Car Championship. But on the pole position is Matt Jackson after winning that opening race here earlier today, ahead of Dave Newsham, ahead of Jason Plato and Rob Collard. Frank Rathall and Gordon Shedden on row 3. Row 4 is Aaron Smith and Tom Onslow-Cole, Lee Wood and Matt Neal. Tony Gillam with Ollie Jackson on the 6th row. Row 7 is Jeff Smith with Nick Foster. Chris James and Andy Neate, Tony Hughes and Liam Griffin will be starting actually at the back, the very back, after Adam Morgan, Rob Austin and Andrew Jordan, because he actually started from the pit lane. Now, we are actually under racing conditions and we can go live with Tom Onslow-Cole. Tom, it's Toby. It's going to be a race that's now underway from behind the safety car. It's a rolling start. How are you going to get back the advantage that you might have got off a standing start with your BMW?
Very difficult question there. Yeah, one of the strong points of the BMW is its very fast starts, and to be honest, we hope to maybe get that advantage back with prolonged tyre life, but with the new turbo engine and only the 17-inch tyre. She's been pretty hard on her tyres anyway.
It's been a couple of hours since the last race. Are conditions worse or better?
I think the conditions are slightly worse from when we started the first race, but they're definitely a lot better than where we ended. So we're in a bit of an interim at the moment.
Thank you, Tom. Best of luck. Thumbs up from Tom Onslow-Cole. Tim Harvey, we are actually under racing conditions. We've had a slow couple of laps, but it's given the drivers a chance to see where it's particularly dangerous.
Yeah, there was a circuit inspection just prior to the start of this by Jeff Allen, former touring car driver, and the lights are out on the safety car. The race is now beginning. This will be the start of lap 2.
The start of lap 3, if I could say, Tim, because they're getting underway. Matt Jackson leading away from pole position. Dave Newsham over the line. He's already lost out to the rocket start of Matt Jackson. Newsham, Plato, that's the grid as it was. Everybody comes over single file. Now these are tentative times, Tim, as people get themselves up to full racing speed and really find out where the puddles are. Yeah, it's lap 3, apologies. In actual fact, it has stopped raining now, so hopefully the standing water will gradually go away. Look, it already looks a bit better there through the complex, and it was the aquaplaning that the teams were worried about. So now we should get better visibility, little less aquaplaning and faster lap times. Oh, and there you got Lee Wood in the background there, battling with the BMW of Tom Onslow-Cole who we were speaking to just a moment ago. As they come out of Noble and through Goodwood, the vision seems a little bit better, as Tim said a moment ago, but we're riding on board with TOC, Tom Onslow-Cole. Yeah, great on board there. You can see he's got slightly better grip mid-corner at the moment, but the BMWs, they're worried that if the track dries out, they'll work their rear tyre too much. So they'll be hoping it stays reasonably wet. Oh, it looked like the Ford was out on the curb there, losing traction. Tom's actually pulled out just to get vision. Shedden passing Collard. That is Gordon Shedden coming past the BMW into the complex. Now, we have to remind ourselves that during the 2 free practice sessions yesterday here at Thruxton, which were damp but not as wet as we've got now, Gordon Shedden was fastest in both. So really, we shouldn't be surprised of the pace of the Scot. No, certainly Gordon was very quick in the wet free practice sessions. He's now up to 4th place, so he's had a great first racing lap under green conditions and moved up 2 places. And it might be even more. That's Matt Neal, his teammate, who's behind Tom Onslow-Cole. Matt hugging the curbs, bouncing over them. Matt Neal came over the line in 9th position. He can see 8th in front of him. We're riding on board, looking back at the reigning champion, the 2011 British Touring Car champion, Matt Neal, driving the #1 brand new Honda. Tom Onslow-Cole, as he said, he's driving a new turbo engine for the first time this year. They were using the Screamer 2-litre Super 2000 car engine last year, and Matt Neal thinks about it, but TOC is going to shut the door, or is he? Yes, he is.
Yeah, same old story there with the NGTC car appearing to have slightly superior cornering grip, but the BMW slightly quicker on the straight. You're seeing that again now as they come up Woodham Hill towards the club chicane. Matt Neal can't use that cornering speed to get too close, but very good on the brakes, the Honda.
On the brakes, the pair of them go. Lee Wood is in close attendance. He's on the bubble of the top 10. Very cautious driving from TOC because he stays off the curbs and he just loses half a mile an hour and he loses a position now. And the wider tyres, of course, on the Honda will have given Matt Neal more grip.
Well, Matt did two things there. He straight-lined the chicane a lot more than Tom Onslow-Cole did, which gave him impetus coming out of the chicane, and he could use traction to pass on the inside.
There is the leader. That's still Matt Jackson. Dave Newsham in second place, but Shedden has got through to third position. And as we see the white Honda in third, yes, he is. He's got ahead of Jason Plato. Shedden is on a mission here at Thruxton this weekend. Look at him. He's leaning on the car so much more.
Yeah, he appears to have great commitment and confidence in the car. You can really see the closing speed on Newsham there is absolutely huge through Goodwood.
Through into Church Corner. Shedden takes a tighter line. This is the replay as we came into the complex.
Yeah, approaching the complex. Jason's actually left bags of room there. He's seen that coming and obviously decided to let him go and follow him. And look, already Shedden is up alongside. On the brakes, is he going to get up the inside? Looks like he is. Well, they're all jumping out of the way for Gordon Shedden today, aren't they?
Gordon goes up 2 places in less than a lap here at Thruxton as we complete lap 5. Matt Jackson came over the line. He has a lead of over 3 seconds, but Shedden does the fastest lap of the race so far, and he does it streets ahead of everybody else. A 24.3 compared with a 25.6 of Jackson, who leads. There is Frank Rathel. He's come up to 5th position. He's just passed Rob Collards.
Yeah, it looks like the NGTC cars are going well at the moment, doesn't it? But we'll have to see what happens as the conditions change a little bit during the rest of this race. There's still no rain falling, but circuit's not drying that quickly, is it?
No chance at all of that. It's still quite windy here, but for the first time in what seems about 24 hours, it has actually stopped raining. Look at that puddle on the left-hand side as Rathel turned into Noble. Speaking to the drivers, Tim, after the first race, the big problems for grip and a large amount of water running over the surface have been at Noble and at Allard, the first corner.
Absolutely right. Yeah, that's where it seemed to collect and catch the drivers out. We certainly saw it in the first race through Noble with people having big moments, but it seems a lot better now, a lot better.
7th position coming into view. That is Matt Neal, lights ablaze with his number 1 car, but Rathel is back into his 5th position where he finished the first race. He's carrying ballast. He's got 9 kilos of ballast. Remember that Matt Jackson is carrying 45 kilos of ballast, the most amount of ballast that you can get through success here in the British Touring Car Championship. Now then, what of Andrew Jordan, the man who qualified brilliantly on pole position yesterday, but then went off at the very first corner earlier today, started from the back of the grid, and he's already on the tail of Chris James. That's his 15th and 16th position for the Vauxhall and the Honda.
Yeah, and hats off to the Motorbase crew who managed to get Liam Griffin's heavily smashed Focus out on for this last race, albeit starting from the pit lane.
We're on board with Jason Plato, looking to Dave Newsham in front of us. 3rd and 4th position, you can see Newsham taking Goodwood. Was that a little bit wide, Tim?
No, that was a good line. That was a good line. Look, he hasn't really lost very much through theirs. Variety of different lines there. Some of it is just literally people sticking out of the spray to get a clear. He's definitely wide there, though. Definitely wide through Church.
Let's see the top speed as they come down to the club chicane. Jason still not half wheeling, but just sort of half a width to one side so that he can get a bit of a clearer view. And Plato makes it through up onto 3rd position. Over the chicane, leaping over those sleeping policemen, battering the underside of the car as he comes over the line. Jackson still leads, but not by much. Out of view, I can see that Jackson has got a lot of work to do. That's less than a second. Gordon Shedden, and his wipers have stopped working.
Well, it may be that he's not using them. He may be just letting the Rain-X brush the water straight off rather than make the screen smeary by using the wiper. But he was, well, nearly 2 seconds quicker on that last lap. So 1.6 second quicker, massive difference. So I think Jackson would have seen that coming. He'll probably keep up a bit of a fight, but nothing too over the top.
Here they come into the right-hander. The narrower tyres of the S2000 Focus underneath Matt Jackson, but the big wider tyres and probably a bit wider track, of course, for the number 52 Gordon Shedden. Winner twice at Donington Park just a fortnight ago. Shedden leapt up to 5th with that result. He leapt up to 4th after the first race here today, and here in race 2 we're coming to the halfway point, wheel to wheel between the two of them, but Shedden's got lots of time to try and get past. He's weighing up Matt Jackson.
Well, a good example there of the straight line speed differential between the two cars, because Shedden came through Church much quicker and actually got up the inside and almost parallel with Jackson on the exit of Church, but Jackson was able to pull a car's length in front of him before they got to the club chicane. And there again, through the first corner, look at the superior cornering speed of the Honda, but he just can't use it coming out of the corner. May do him on the brakes here though. It looks like he's through cleanly. Jackson sensibly leaves him room.
Leading this race now is Gordon Shedden, hopping over the curbs once more. What a race, what a day Gordon Shedden has had. He started the first... Oh, and there is Chris James, who's gone off at the chicane. This is what happened. Andrew Jordan following him. Chris James just running on.
Yeah, locked up there. Oh, head on into the wall as well. But he'd left his braking very, very late there, and had been defending well, I think, from Andrew Jordan. Oh, so wide there. Shedden pushing the boundaries. He was so close to getting on the grass there. And he doesn't even need to push this hard.
Absolutely not. Shedden leading it by, you can see that much. There's wife Gillian looking on. She's as nervous as anybody down there with the Honda Racing Dynamics squad. And look at that lead. 3rd position Plato coming into shot. Then Newsham, you can just see on the left-hand side. Probably the reason why Gordon didn't pass into the chicane on the last lap is that there were yellow flags being waved for the stricken Chris James Vauxhall. But he got through anyway, just a third of a lap later.
Yeah, Gillian was definitely laughing. I think she raced herself in the Scottish XR2 Championship. She knows a bit about driving, and she was probably thinking just the same as we were, that Gordon doesn't need to push quite that hard.
Neil over the line in 6th, Collard over the line. That is Aaron Smith in 8th position. Tom Onslow Cole, Lee Wood. That is 9th position that Tom Onslow Cole has got. Lee Wood pushing him hard. Tony Gillam right behind him with the number 34 car. Jeff Smith on their tail as well. Gillam having a sniff, having a look, having a chance to try and get through inside the top 10.
Oh, a bit of oversteer there coming through the complex. That shows already that the BMWs are starting to push their rear tyres. The West Surrey Racing team really trying to find the sweet spot with this car. Now it has turbo power. The power is coming in a different fashion, and it's working that rear tyre much harder as they look for an ideal setup, wet and dry.
Can they play around with different throttle settings? Is it linear? I was speaking to Jason Plato about it yesterday, and there were options available for him in an NGTC car.
Yes, there are some options, because it's an NGTC engine, of course, in that car. In fact, the same engine. But it's very difficult to control the boost as it starts to come on.
Down the back section we come once more. Tom Onslow Cole, lights ablaze. Into the chicane, Lee Wood going to have to go around the outside. That's as brave as you're ever going to get, but a nice tight line.
Yeah, great racing by Lee Wood. Let's give a shout out to him. He's really pushing Onslow Cole here, and some great driving.
Who gets the better drive? There's a bit of damages there on the back. No, I don't think so. Yes, there's a bit of flapping bodywork with the rear of that BMW on the rear left-hand side. That is Aaron Smith going through your shot in 8th position. 9th, 10th, 11th, as quick as you can say it, as we come into the complex here. Oh, Lee Wood thinking about it, but he's now going to have to defend.
Yeah, I think Lee was actually defending from Gillam, but Gillam's going to go through. Same pass there that we saw in earlier today. Great place to pass. Gillam on the charge.
Great manoeuvre there from Tony Gillam as Lee Wood lost just that little bit of momentum. We are now on lap 11 of 16. We're riding on board with Tony Gillam.
Yeah, you can see Lee Wood goes to the inside, defends, holds the car tight to take his line, and Gillam just times it perfectly to carry his momentum through and put the car up the inside, and it's effectively a block pass.
This is the battle between Dave Newsham and Frank Rathel, 4th and 5th position up for grabs between these two. Let's have a look at the lap times. Rathel significantly quicker on the last lap, which was about a minute and a half ago. We're about to cross the timing beams in just a moment. Great drive from Frank Rathel. Or will he not have a chance to get past? This is a man's corner through here, Tim.
It certainly is, but fortunately online there you can see there's no standing water now. It's cleared. It looks really to me as though the MGTC cars now really benefiting from the wider tyre. Now there's no standing water. They've got more tyre on the road, they've got more grip on the wet track, and you can see that in all the corners. These two, of course, have MGTC engines, so similar power, but clearly the Frank Rathel car has more grip.
Frank Rathel in the Toyota, number 11, battling against the 888 built car. Through that puddle they go. It's just like a water splash on a rally. Water's certainly going to be seeping into the cockpit area and fogging these guys' windscreens up again today. It's getting quite muggy here. As I said, it stopped raining just as Louise was on the grid interviewing these guys. And, well, will it dry by the next race? Who knows? But there's not as much spray, believe it or not, as there was towards the end of the first race.
These cars dissipate a lot of water from the tyres, and you can see that from the amount of spray they're throwing up. Onslow Cole with a big slide. His bumper's already detached at the rear. He's lost places to Gillam and to Lee Wood, but that needs to come off really, or it's a black and orange flag.
Yeah, that is tight for him. Now then, Jason Plato going to Matt Jackson and going through to 2nd position. Jason Plato has found a 2nd on the last lap to catch and now pass Matt Jackson, who was the leader of this race, who was the winner of the first race of the day, and he's now in 3rd position. Meanwhile, we have a replay on board with Jason.
Yeah, Jason just lines the car up, sends it up the inside, brakes in a straight line, runs a little bit wide, but it doesn't matter because he's gained the position. And Matt Jackson, perhaps not surprisingly, with maximum ballast on board, just doing his very best in that Super 2000 car.
And that is Liam Griffin. That is him at the back of the field. There is Rob Austin, who amazingly has got that car repaired after his off. Don't forget, Griffin, the Motorbase boys have done massive work over the lunch break to get that car even vaguely looking towards an MOT, let alone the scrutineers, Tim.
Well, they actually had to re-weld both chassis legs because both chassis legs have been pushed down, so an absolutely fantastic effort by Motorbase to get the car out, because that was a big impact.
Leader comes over the line. Shedden, there's Plato over the line. He's in 2nd place. 3rd over the line is Matt Jackson. Now, have we got Frank Rathel up into 4th? Yes, we have. There is the Toyota. He's got ahead of Dave Newsham, and Dave Newsham has got Matt Neal right on his tail. So Newsham's now got an awful lot of work to do with 2.5 laps to go. Matt Jackson, oh, he's slipping down the order as we wait for them to come into Noble. The leader, that is Gordon Shedden, and that is what a 3.8-second lead looks like. We've only got 2 drivers who have been victorious twice so far this year. One is Gordon Shedden, one is Matt Jackson. Will it be 3 wins for Gordon Shedden in just a lap and a half time? This is Jordan going through past Lee Wood for 10th.
Yeah, good progress by Jordan. There was quite a lot of damage to that car. It didn't look a lot, but it was a lot of small parts. The team had to work really hard, which is why he could only start at the back of the field, but great progress made by him. And I think we should look at the difference between Shedden and Matt Neal, because they only started 2 places apart on the grid, 6th and 8th, but Shedden is leading. Matt Neal has just set his personal best lap time quite late in the race, so 23.9, but he's in 6th place.
Frank Rathel might have a sniff of a podium here, but there is Matt Neal, who's got through past Newsham to 5th position. So he has transferred that best lap of the race into another position. So we've got a Honda leading and a Honda in 5th. Plato with the MG second, Matt Jackson with the Ford Focus in third. Rathel, can he catch Matt Jackson? He's going a second a lap quicker. We've got 2 laps to go and he's 2 seconds behind. It'll be a photo finish.
It'll be close, won't it? I think Shedden is definitely controlling the pace. Look how much drier the track is. But Rathel really going. I mean, the NGTC cars will maintain their tyres better to the end of the race. Jackson bound to be struggling really with a little bit of tyre wear now, with mats and ballast on board and a smaller tyre.
Coming through, Noble still leaning on it. The Honda that was leading on it at the beginning of the race was Gordon Shedden. Now Matt Neal really does lean on it as he tries to stay ahead of Dave Newsham. He does just that. Behind these guys, that looks like Lee Wood. Adam Morgan, apologies. Adam Morgan, he's some 4 laps down. He's had a big moment that has put him right to the rear of the field. Meanwhile, as Jackson brakes to try and keep his third position, this is going to be one hell of a battle as he comes over the line. The lights flashing, of course, from Gordon Shedden. There is a back marker that he's about to pass.
Yeah, it is some way in front of us, Rob Austin. I mean, no need for Gordon to panic. I always thought he was flashing to celebrate a win a lap early, but he's definitely flashing Rob Austin who gets out of the way. Rob, I think his confidence knocked a little bit by the shunt yesterday, and it was Rob actually that had contact with Gordon Shedden in race 1, so maybe that's why Shedden was flashing his lights.
There's the leader, there's Jason Plato in second place with the MG. This battle for third is well on. Matt Jackson's going to have to use all the tricks that he's got tucked up those fireproof sleeves against Frank Rathel. Matt Jackson, test driver for McLaren. He's brought one of the McLarens here. He's got a swarm of people all around it, and he's got a swarm of Frank Rathel all behind him. Rathel goes one way, sells him a dummy. Matt Jackson goes tight. We're riding on board. Battle for third.
Well, this is going to be close. Jackson needs to get a perfect exit from Church. Rathel's got more grip, but Jackson will go to the right-hand side to defend, and he should have enough power to just hold him off as they run up to club. Will Rathel have a go on the brakes?
They pass the back marker into the last couple of corners. Frank Rathel, sniff of a podium here, but Matt Jackson super cool on the brakes. No contact at all. Gordon Shedden wins here at Thruxton in these wet conditions. Jason Plato gets second position, and this is third over the line. It's Matt Jackson third, Frank Rathel in fourth place. As a photo finish, just 2/10 between them. Matt Neal gets 5th position, Dave Newsham in 6th. This is Tony Gillam right on the limit of adhesion. The old Honda versus the new Honda. Can Andrew Jordan power through from the back of the grid? Oh, this is going to be close as you like, but it's Gillam who gets it. 9th position for the number 34, and Andrew Jordan gets 10th position, fighting all the way back from, well, essentially 22nd.
Absolutely great performance by Gordon Shedden, pulverising early laps when the track was at its wettest, and then controlled the race. But of course we'll be looking to see what happens with the reverse grid as well, so anyone from 6th till 10th could be on pole for race 3. 6th was Newsham, 7th was Collard, 8th was Aaron Smith, 9th was Gillam, and 10th was Jordan, so any one of those could be on the front.
Gordon Shedden now wins 3 British touring car races in 2012 after just 8 rounds. What a complete mess that whole opening weekend was at Brands Hatch. He only had 1 point score, 2 non-finishes, and then he bounced back at Donington with 2 wins and a second place. He had a 6th earlier today, but, you know, he got truncated, Tim, by the race being red flagged before the end, and now he's bounced back with a victory, backing up that massive free practice pace that he had.
And I have to say, I think that, and had Gordon not had this turbo problem in qualifying, he'd have started second on the grid. So, if anything, you know, since that disastrous first race, you've got to say that the impetus within the Honda team has actually been with Gordon. He looks like the one that wants to win this championship badly.
Shedden victorious at race 2 here today, ahead of Jason Plato and Matt Jackson. Frank Rathel in 4th place, Matt Neal in 5th. Newsham, Collard, Aaron Smith, Tony Gillam and Andrew Jordan. How close can it be? Just 0.05 of a second between them on the line for 9th and 10th. Jeff Smith and Lee Wood, 11th and 12th. Tom Onslow Cole slipped somewhat to 13th. Unlucky for him. Nick Foster, Ollie Jackson, the last 2 points scorers here in the second race at Thruxton. Jason Plato continues to lead the British Touring Car Championship, but Gordon Shedden comes up from 4th to 2nd position, ahead of Matt Jackson, ahead of his teammate Matt Neal, Rob Collard and Andrew Jordan, Newsham, Smith, Onslow, Cole and Gillam. It's absolutely challenging. It's going to be a challenging race to commentate on, I know that for sure. We've had a fantastic Porsche race that's just, well, thrilled us up here in the commentary box. There is an enormous black cloud that's over our shoulders to the left-hand side, which is over towards the final corner. Tim, it's going to be a bit of a risk for some people to go for slicks.
Well, as if the reverse grid race wasn't enough in itself, we've got the weather, which is anybody's guess. We've got cars on slicks on the front, wets on the rears, cars with wets all round. Nobody gone for slicks all round. No one quite that brave or foolish. Well, you call it. In the last race, we had wet, dry, wet. You know, it was won by cars on slicks, but really and truly, with front-wheel drive cars, you just can't take that risk.
The wind is coming from over towards the church direction, the far side of the circuit, really over into the distance there, and you can see some rain already on the horizon. We believe that there are 4 people who've gone for slicks on the front and wets on the rear. They are Dave Newsham starting from the 2nd row, but it's Tony Gillam starting from the pole position with the reverse grid ahead of Aaron Smith. Collard, Newsham on slicks with the front, wets on the rear. Matt Neal, Frank Rathall make up the 3rd row. Row 4 is Matt Jackson and Jason Plato, Gordon Shedden, Andrew Jordan, Jeff Smith, Lee Woods making up the 6th row. We're going to have to get under starters orders very quickly indeed. We believe that Smith has got slicks on the front together with Dave Newsham. They are 2nd and 4th on the grid respectively, but it's the man on pole position, Tony Gillam, who's got all the work to do with his Honda Civic as we're about to get 16 laps of this 3rd race of the day underway. Round 9 of the 2012 British Touring Car Championship. Tony Gillam on the pole position. Aaron Smith, the Dubliner, on his left-hand side. Bit of creeping from Gillam. They're holding them a long time, popping and banging with the turbos. Great start from Rob Collard with the BMW, bumping and boring in the mid-pack there. That's one of the works Hondas. Oh, and a massive slide. Was that Matt Jackson who held it all together? Great control. A lot of rain, a lot of spray. The headlights ablaze, and leading is Gillam. But it's going to be Collard who's going to push him hard. Frank Rathall's in 3rd position. One of the red line Focuses has gone into the car park and then out again. It looked like it was Liam Griffin in the background. Look at this, Tim. It's pouring with rain already.
The track is really sodden, so the guys who started on slicks on the front are going to be struggling to start with. It looked like the motor base board's getting bashed around, but Gillam still leads, and he's on wets with the BMW, and Rathall also on wets, absolutely monstering him. The 2 Hondas have made great starts.
The massive slide there from the BMW of Collard, but he held it all together. He's lost position. He's got a lot of work to do to defend his 4th position. The Works Honda racing machine goes through and it holds it. Still, Gillam leads. What a drive from the number 34.
But Shedden in 2nd place, did you see him through Goodwood and Church? He was absolutely hanging it out. Shedden is an absolute master in the wet at the moment.
Frank Rathall's late on the brakes in that 3rd position with the orange Toyota. It's Matt Neal who's come through into 2nd position. Shedden in 4th, Collard in 5th position as we complete the 1st lap. How are we going to keep up with the pace over the next 15 circulations of this Thruxton circuit? It is raining harder and harder as we speak, and Gillam still leads. What a drive!
Yes, you're right, it was Neal. He passed Shedden on that opening lap when they all came together through Noble. Brilliant drive by the 2 Honda guys, but brilliant driving by Gillam. He's still in the lead.
He's really defending
himself. Rathall attacks Neal and gets through. Neal's going to come back on.
They're all going to come together. Neal's going to go wide. He's going to destroy the line for his teammate. No, he doesn't. Shedden goes through with the 52 Yuasa Honda, but still the Dynajet Toyota is in control. Frank Rathall, what a drive. But that's given Gillam even more of a lead.
Well, great stuff for Gillen. Enjoy it while it lasts. I mean, one has the feeling that the NGTC cars, as Rathel has a moment and lets the Honda back up the inside. This is Shedden down the inside into Church. Very, very iffy here. Who's late on the brakes? About the same, but Shedden has the inside line.
As they come out of the far side of the circuit, one of the people who started on slicks has already changed to wets all round. That was Ollie Jackson. He's just left the pits. It's pouring with rain in the far side of the circuit. Still leading is Tony Gillen. Through the chicane he goes there. Which Honda is it going to be? It's going to be Gordon Shedden in second, Matt Neal in third, Frank Rathel now in fourth position, Rob Collard in fifth position, and we're riding on board with Frank Rathel, who is fourth as we come into Allard's. Feathering that throttle.
Well, I'm not sure who's going to see most here, whether it's through our camera or through the lens of the onboard car, because the visibility is absolutely horrendous. That big black cloud has opened its doors and dumped all this water, and it's a full, wet, sodden track.
Out of the complex we come. Behind these guys is Rob Collard, and that is Matt Jackson with the Redstone Focus. There's Jason Plato with the 99. Plato, the championship leader, let us not forget. We're riding on board with him. He is in 7th position at the moment, and terrible conditions. Plato, who's already had today a third and a second, he's leading the title chase by 13 points. Does he bank it or does he risk it?
I think he's just letting this race come to him. He knows that there'll be retirements in front of him. He knows there'll be contact. He's letting the race come to him. But the two Hondas are closing in on their old car from last year. But hats off to Tony Gillen. He's still leading in the Super 2000 car with its smaller tyres.
Fantastic drive from Tony Gillen. He's got some of his friends to help out. They rebuilt the car over the winter. It's Gordon Shedden's actual car of last year. And last year, that actual car won 6 British Touring Car races, and it's continuing to lead at the 25% points in this race. Great driving from Gillen up against the power of the brand new Hondas behind him. He closes the door. Shedden can't get through there. Gillen goes wide.
Gillen goes wide. He's really fighting for this, and fair play to Tony and the whole Team Hard crew, but it's inevitable. The tide of the Honda. Shedden goes through. Matt Neal is going to get through. He'll be able to get round the outside of Noble into second as well, but fair play to the Team Hard team. Tony Gillen, look, he's still fighting. Fantastic, good for him.
Very good driving. Great driving from Tony Gillen. Frank Rathel still in 4th position. Now he's on an NGTC car setup, is Rathel. Therefore he's got the wider rubber underneath him. The rubber should last better as the race goes on. Or will it with these now damp conditions?
Well, the only thing is we haven't had torrential rain for a long time, so we haven't got any real standing water. The circuit is very wet, but there's no aquaplaning, no cuddling up at the moment, certainly, because it hasn't been raining long enough. So although the track's very wet, it's quite safe for racing, no aquaplaning.
Leaders come into the chicane once, twice, 3 times over the curve. Gordon Shedden leading from his teammate Matt Neal, 52 from 1. Frank Rathel got a good run, has he, on Tony Gillen? No. Let's have a look at 5th. Who is he? It's Matt Jackson ahead of Jason Plato, who's got a position ahead of Rob Collard, who's dropped back. Rob Collard now in 7th place ahead of Andrew Jordan, Tom Onslow-Cole and Lee Wood as we ride on board in 4th position with Frank Rathel. Through the complex, over the curve, bit of wheel spin, ducking one way then the other, and now you build up the speed.
Yeah, and here we go on the approach to the fast left-hander at Noble. This is where the Dynajet car, the NGTC car's got a bit more grip. Through here, he closes a little. Now watch here, this is where you really need lateral grip. Tyre size makes a big difference here. Frank can carry more speed, look, he can turn a bit tighter on the exit, cut back underneath. Can he get underneath? No, he can't. Still great driving by Tony Gillen.
So Tony Gillen has got a car that's a little bit lighter, admittedly, Tim, but it's got less rubber to move the water, and he's staying ahead. It's about 100 kilos difference between them. Great racing. Fantastic.
Yeah, very close racing amongst all of the cars, all of the classes that today. It's just been down to driver skill and tyre choice and setup, but we've seen some fantastic performances.
The 2 Works Hondas are leading this race. 1st and 2nd, Rathel has to get out of the throttle in 4th position. behind the old 2011 Honda Civic of Tony Gillam. Now the Works Hondas are away with this one. They're lapping more than 2 seconds a lap faster than these guys battling for third position. They have a lead over this battle for third of about 3.5 seconds. Oh, Tony makes his own mistake. No, Tony Gillam runs off and goes headlong into the barrier. Tony Gillam, he just braked literally, Tim, a metre too late.
A metre too late, and he locked up the front wheels, and once you've done that, you're a passenger, and the whole team absolutely, well, so disappointed. Tony doing a bit of a Gilles Villeneuve though. He's going to drag that back, and good for him, but I think the damage will be total. Just watch it. Watch the front wheels on the Honda, the green Honda. There's no contact, but he's locked up. As soon as he locks up, the car accelerates forwards and can't steer the car and just goes straight on.
I caught up with Rathall after race 2 here today, and he says the brakes on that Dynajet Toyota are so good. We saw it at the old hairpin in the dry at Donington Park a fortnight ago, Tim, and in the wet he's proven that the setup on the brakes is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and Shedden, remember, started 9th for this race, an absolutely storming drive. I mean, Shedden has been the class of the field in the wet, fastest in both free practices. He's just flying. He's just got a feel for it.
Plato comes over the line in 4th position now that we've lost Tony Gillam, Matt Jackson, Andrew Jordan, Rob Collard coming through a shot there as they go up the hill. The leader's still miles ahead, and Gordon Shedden looking for the double here. Now, will they get into the point of the race where they're on the radio with the team manager and say, swap position, remember you get a point if you lead the race on any given lap over the line. So you might give a swap to Matt.
Yeah, we might
did it
see
last
that.
year.
Yeah, we see that when they've got a comfortable lead like this, they very often swap places, but they'll to give the extra point. But I think they will have to decide who on merit has won this race.
The wipers are not running on Gordon Shedden's car. Did he tell Elsin Park Fermi at the end of last race that the wipers weren't working?
Yeah, he did, and they've stopped in a strange place, although I subsequently find out there was a discrepancy on the weight of the car on the scales. When they first weighed it, they actually thought it was underweight, but they had to reposition the scales, and then it was fine. So I think there was a big sigh of relief in the Dynamics team there. But yeah, his wipers have stopped in a strange place there, so they're not. Poor Tony, having to retire.
Oh, Tony Gillam, nobody wants to go near him. The disappointment is just palpable. So then, Plato over the line in 4th. This is the battle for 5th position. Matt Jackson, Andrew Jordan, the Focus and the Civic. Oh, the S2000 chassis underneath Matt Jackson. Winner of the first race here today, had a 3rd position in the 2nd race. These two battling for 5th place.
And it looks to be that the NGTC cars are in the ascendancy. Obviously, we've got Honda's 1st and 2nd, and Rathall 3rd. We've got Plato, another NGTC car 4th, and then this battle. So Matt Jackson actually the highest placed Super 2000 car, but it looks only a matter of time before Andrew Jordan can find his way through. I have to say, I saw an on-board camera video footage of Andrew Jordan's qualifying lap when we put it on pole. I don't think I'll see a better piece of driving on board this year. A completely committed driver. So let's see what happens.
Totally agree, Tim. I saw it first thing this morning. His dad said, come on, Toad, come and have a quick look at this. It was awe-inspiring. Yes, hopefully we'll get a chance to see it. So then, as these guys come down to the chicane to complete the halfway points in this race. Dave Newsham, Chris James is being lapped. One of the ESRacing.com's cars is being lapped. Well, Dave Newsham, he started on slicks on the front, and that unfortunately has been the wrong card to turn over. Back with the leaders, Shedden from Neil, 1.5 seconds the gap between them. They are lapping in about 1 minute 24s, and people behind him about the same kind of pace, Rathall and Plato 3rd and 4th respectively.
Plato looks to be closing on Rathel. On the last lap, Plato was 3 or 4 tenths of a lap quicker, so I think there's going to be a battle there for the final podium position as Matt Jackson still manages to fend off Jordan. And this is at least wet enough to keep the NGTC car, well, to keep the Super 2000 17-inch tyres cool enough. They're not going to overheat in this.
Oh, Jordan jinking to the right-hand side, but Matt Jackson using all of the tricks. He came up through the Clio Cup now a decade ago, Matt Jackson, but Jordan's right on him. But again, Jackson gets the drive. Well, lapping Nardo in the south of Italy at 170 miles an hour and development McLaren is teaching him more things than we really know. That's great driving to keep ahead. Fantastic racing and clean as well.
Yeah, that's been a measure of most of the racing today. A lot of respect given. I know there's been some incidences, but a lot of respect given throughout the races for fellow competitors on this fast and quite dangerous circuit.
Continuing to rain here at Thruxton. We're on lap 10 of 16. This battle, I remind you, for 5th position. Jordan is running out of options. Or is he? Or is he? He's through. Jackson just leaves him enough room as they turn into the right-hander, Campbell.
Well, that was always going to be the best chance that he had because he could use his superior corner speed through the first corner to slingshot himself up the inside and also use a slightly better braking of the NGTC car with its wider tyres to slow the car down. But Jackson knew that was pointless to defend, so a good move, a good clean path.
Here's your leader, that is Gordon Shedden leaning on it as he comes out of Church Corner. Wipers still not working, but he's got nobody really in front of him. It's still raining, not as much as it was at the start of this 16-lapper. But he's got a couple of back markers in front of him who will be putting some spray onto the windscreen of that very raked windscreen on the Honda Civic. These touring car drivers nowadays, they're sitting so far back, well beyond further back than the B pillar. The windscreen seems, Tim, such a very, very long way away nowadays. The drivers are sat so far back.
Yeah, the NGTC car, the regulations allow the driver to sit almost in the middle of the car, actually. Oh, a bit of a slide there for Sheds. So it shows he's still pushing, and in fact it's Neil that's lapping slightly quicker at the moment, but and it's clearly that Shedden is not backing off. They're both racing hard, but no, they sit a long way back in the car. And it's a good driving position, actually, but I fancy these two are still pushing each other quite hard. There certainly hasn't been any team orders to hold positions issued yet.
Now then, what's happening with the battle for 3rd position? Answer, that's the gap. Jason Plato, we're on board with him. Wipers at the bottom of your screen, full tilt. Frank Rathel ahead of us by 0.7 of a second as they come through Goodwood and through Church. This is the point on the racetrack yesterday where Jason Plato went off about here. The back went round and he went way over to the left-hand side across about an acre of field. And Frank Rathel, you can see him looking down, surely at the dash, as we've got Neil in the lead to take a point to lead this race ahead of Gordon Shedden.
Now the question will be, has he actually passed him for team orders to get the point, or has he actually just been able to actually catch and pass? We'll have to see if that was obviously being let through. Yeah, Shedden definitely let him through for the point. But we'll see if they change places back again, because definitely Neil was catching.
You get a point for fastest lap in a race. You get a point if you lead a lap. You can only get 1 point. Doesn't matter how many laps you lead. As an extra bonus, there's a points for pole position, but that was yesterday, and then the points go from 1st down to 15th as you cross the line. Out the back we go for the 12th time of 16 here at Thruxton. So Matt Neal's turn to lead. Matt Neal was quicker on the lap before the one that we're on. 2 laps ago he did a 1:23. They've now let off, and now Gordon Shedden retakes the lead back at Goodwood. So formation flying for the Yuasa Hondas.
Yeah, so that was just to get the extra point, and the team have decided that Shedden was the man in front and he should take the points. He's also the man who has the most points in the championship.
Battle for 3rd. Tony Hughes gets passed by Frank Rathel, the sister Toyota, and the new MG of Jason Plato. third and fourth on screen there. Rathall, perfect on the brakes, bit of a lock-up from the rear right, was it? Dash on the brake pedal from his left foot as Plato threads his way through. The gap was 0.5 of a second last time between them. It's now 0.67 of a second as again they teeter it through Allard.
Great driving by Frank Rathall. He's had a lot of problems early in the year, but this has been a real good, strong meeting for him. He qualified in third. He was fifth in the fourth race. He was fourth in the second race, and he's now third in the third race.
Is he left foot braking even through the complex there? No, it's just the rain light. Sorry, that's fooling me.
Yeah, the television can sometimes make the lights look a bit like they're on when they're not, especially these new LED lights. But, you know, for Frank to be holding Plato behind in the same specification of car, remember the Dynajet team, Frank Rathall's team, built this Toyota Avensis themselves over the winter. It's a development of last year's car. So a lot of credit must go to that team.
It's a very close team indeed. And he's got his sister here today, his dad, of course, and there's a grandchild of Frank Senior who's just been born as well. So he says, another 6 years, get him in a cart. Let's get him in a cart, he said, when I saw the little one earlier today. Another part of the Rathall family as we're coming into crunch time for the final taste of champagne on the third step of the podium. The two Hondas are gone, they are away with it. They have already completed their lap. These guys are 7 seconds behind. Plato nipping away by about another tenth of a second, but it's going to be very close between these two. Rathall's got big pressure now.
He has, but, you know, as I predicted, Plato was just going to let the race come to him. Been some retirements, and he's just gradually moved forward. He's a wily old fox. He's lost too many, well, not too many, but he's lost championships by being a little bit impetuous early in the season, and then realising that had he just taken some points, he would have been in a better position at the end of the year. And, you know, that maturity is allowing him now to not try to win every single race, but win the ones you can win, take the most points when you can't. And he looks like he's got the better car now.
As we power up out of Goodwood towards Church, Jason Plato down a gear for Church, and who can blame him? Frank Rathall has had a bit of a wag there from the rear end of the Dynajet Toyota, and has he got a bit of better drivers, Jason Plato? And Rathall knows it. He's trying to push him around the outside that way, and then round the outside to the left. A nice defensive line into the chicane, another little bit of a wag. It's all about temperature in the rear tyres, Tim. Not them wearing out, but just no grip because they're so cold.
Yeah, well, they've got a balanced amount of grip now, actually, between the front and the rear. Note the tyres aren't going to wear out in these conditions. It's just down to driver and car setup now, how the car works the tyres towards the end of the race. And certainly, I mean, through the tighter stuff, in fact, Rathall looks pretty good, although he overshoots the entry there. But through the faster stuff like Church and Goodwood, Plato definitely has a slightly better car. We're coming to that section now, so maybe Jason will get an opportunity as we come up to the fast left-hand noble. See if Jason throws it up the inside after this corner. He's quicker through here. Look, he's closing. There's an opportunity up the inside. He's looking for it, but Rathall's too close to the inside. He's still looking. He's still looking. Can he nose up the inside? No, he can't. As they get back on the power, he has to let the car run wide. And now we're coming up to Church, where we saw on board last time. Now we're looking back from Rathall. Watch this. Jason went down a gear last time, gets back on the power, carries a bit more speed through the corner. But actually, Rathall was just as quick that lap.
Rathall went down a gear as well. The camera is on the left-hand side of the car. Plato's got a good drive. He's going to have to go around the outside again, is he? Is he going to tempt Frank Rathall into outbraking himself? Little bit of sticker flies off the top of the windscreen of Frank Rathall, who exits the chicane and starts the last lap, still in third position. He had some podiums last year at Knockhill and at Rockingham. Did Frank Rathall? Could this be his first podium of the 2012 season? Great racing between a man who's not won a race in the British Touring Car Championship and Jason Plato, who has won 69 races.
Yeah, quite a difference, and you can see how hard Rathall's trying. He's overshot the entry once again to the Campbell Cobb Seagrave sequence, but he's managed to pull it back together and get a good exit.
At the back they go once more. The Toyota versus the MG. Wheel to wheel, or is it? They're absolutely on the limit. That's through Noble. Massive slides that we've seen through there today. Jason has another slide. You can see he's leaning on it, and Raffle pulls away. Surely that's more of an advantage than we have seen when we've been on board in the last couple of laps for the youngster. Jason Plato fighting, but a dab at the brakes, go down a cog for the pair of them, through Church for the final time.
Yeah, and Plato was quick through there, but I know that Raffle's going to defend the inside. Plato would have to try to go round as the two Hondas come up to finish the race.
Gordon Shedden comes across the line to win the third race of the day here at Thruxton. A brilliant weekend for Gordon Shedden. 2 victories and a 6th position. Matt Neal gets 2nd place, and 3rd is going to go to Frank Rathel. A fantastic result for the Dynajet Toyota, beating Jason Plato into 4th position under massive pressure. Well done to Frank Rathel. Brilliant result. Andrew Jordan gets 5th position. We're waiting for Matt Jackson to come over the line. Meanwhile, this is Lee Wood, and there is Rob Collard. Oh, that's a big off at the final chicane, and Collard might be able to keep it going. Lee Wood bangs it down another couple of gears, and they both limp across the line. This is the battle for 7th position. Collard was leading Wood when he went into there, and Wood limps it over the line, or does he get pipped? No, not quite. Jeff Smith comes over half a second behind him. Tom Onslow-Cole completes the top 10. Goodness me, the pair of them limping over the line, but what a result. Team Honda Racing has been victorious here today in the last race of the day at Thruxton. Gordon Shedden now makes it 4 victories in this season after 9 races. After the terrible start that happened at Brands Hatch, the opening weekend of the year on April the 1st, he had mechanical gremlins and electrical problems. He didn't finish 2 races, and now he's scored at every race since then. So for the last 6 races, Tim, he's won 4 of them and had a 2nd as well.
Yeah, he's a man on a mission now and has driven superbly. Both Collard and Wood have had to stop their cars at the exit, the first corner, after that dramatic finish to their race. But how entertaining it was. I'm glad neither of them went into the barriers hard. But yeah, Shedden has been the class of the field. This is a handling circuit, not a power circuit, and Honda Racing have certainly had the best car.
Okay, Rob and Lee, what do you do that for? Well, what did you do that for? Well, that's exactly what's going to happen. I was doing this, I was doing that. Surely you had a few of those conversations, Tim?
Me, never. I was always a witness. I was just a witness to other people's accidents.
Is that a fact? Here we go. You be the judge.
Well, so they've had contact in the braking area, which has actually fired them both off. You know, I think they were just running very close together. Fortunately, they didn't go off and hit anything. I think there's a broken toe link on the back of Collard's car, and
I think it's got a puncture. I think it punctured the rear left, Tim. But by then, it's immaterial, really.
Yeah, well, yes, I think you're right. Look, the tyre's off the rim. Good spot, that. But that, you know, they could debate that one forever. You know, they were just battling till the end, and no harm, good racing.
Still discussing national politics, I'm sure, down there. Gordon Shedden victorious ahead of his teammate Matt Neal. The Yuasa Hondas 1 and 2 here today. Frank Rathel with the Dynajet Toyota gets 3rd ahead of Jason Plato's MG. Andrew Jordan, Matt Jackson 5th and 6th position. Rob Collard, Lee Wood, you saw them cross the line, limping even over the line in 7th and 8th place. Jeff Smith just half a second off the tail of Lee Wood's Toyota. Tom Onslow-Cole gets 10th position with his BMW. Jason Plato's championship lead was 13 coming into this final race. It's now 4 because Gordon Shedden has come from 5th position in the title chase this morning to 2nd in one day. What a result. Matt Neal chasing him hard in 3rd position. Matt Jackson in 4th. Collard, Jordan, Newsham, Jeff Smith, Onslow-Cole and Frank Rathel now in 10th position, having started the day in 13th.